In the journey of self-discovery and self-care, one of the most crucial and transformative steps you can take is learning the art of setting boundaries and saying no. This chapter delves deep into the significance of establishing healthy boundaries, the liberating feeling that accompanies the ability to say no without guilt, and the profound impact it has on creating a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. Let's embark on this empowering exploration together, uncovering the essence of self-love through boundary setting and prioritization. The canvas of boundaries, painting your self-love. Imagine your life as a canvas, waiting for you to paint your unique masterpiece upon it. Just as an artist uses distinct colors and brushstrokes to create a captivating image, you too have the power to define the contours of your life by setting boundaries. Boundaries are the lines that delineate your emotional, mental, and physical limits. They safeguard your sense of self and shield you from unnecessary stress and exhaustion. Much like an artist protects their canvas from unintended smudges, boundaries shield your well-being from external influences that may compromise your inner harmony. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness. Rather, it's an act of self-love. It's a declaration that your needs, feelings, and aspirations are valid and deserving of respect. When you set boundaries, you are essentially communicating to yourself and the world that you matter. In a society that often glorifies self-sacrifice, embracing the concept of setting boundaries might seem daunting at first. However, as you begin to integrate this practice into your life, you'll find that it serves as a cornerstone for building and nurturing genuine self-love. Saying no, embracing empowerment. The word no. It's just 2 letters, yet it holds immense power. Learning to say no is a transformative step that allows you to prioritize your well-being and dedicate your time and energy to what truly matters. For many, saying no comes with a side dish of guilt, as if declining an invitation or a request is synonymous with letting others down. However, it's important to remember that saying no is not a rejection of others. It's a prioritization of yourself. When you say no without guilt, you're not only respecting your own boundaries, but you're also fostering a healthy dynamic in your relationships. People in your life will learn to understand and respect your limits, and those who genuinely care about you will appreciate your honesty. Think of it as curating your social interactions to include only those who uplift you and value your well-being. Whether dealing with toxic people or simply wanting more time for yourself, setting boundaries and saying no are a must for overall health and happiness. But setting boundaries effectively can be challenging, and you may fear others will perceive you as selfish or unhelpful. Luckily, there are several effective methods available for setting healthy boundaries without feeling guilty. Be honest with yourself. As you establish personal boundaries, it is crucial that you remain honest with yourself. Boundaries exist to protect you, so if someone is making you feel bad or exploiting you, it is absolutely acceptable to say no. If your life has become overwhelming due to too many commitments, it might be time to pare them back. Take an inventory of what energizes and drains you. Identify which activities give the most energy while making plans to eliminate those which don't benefit. For instance, if meeting coworkers late at night or picking up packages when friends leave town is leaving you feeling exhausted, it could be time for change. Stop doing these things. Be honest with yourself about the feelings associated with saying no. While saying no may cause irritation or even disappointment in someone, saying yes might bring happiness and gratitude instead. Be prepared for people to react negatively when you start setting boundaries, particularly if they're used to having their way with you. They might become angry that they no longer can control you, or may try manipulating you using guilt or emotional blackmail. Be patient and remind yourself that setting healthy boundaries are for your own well-being. You deserve taking care of yourself, so setting healthy ones helps do just that. Be honest with others. If you were raised with people who did not set boundaries, it can be challenging to communicate your limits to others. Instead of simply saying no, instead try explaining that their effects on your life or body manifest themselves through discomfort, pain, anger, anxiety, or emotional exhaustion. For instance, I prefer limiting socializing after a certain hour as I often become tired and overwhelmed by people asking for my time. When someone violates your boundaries, it's essential to be open about your feelings. This can help avoid conflict and stress. Offering an example from past situations which cause discomfort may also be helpful, such as telling a friend not to post coupled up selfies. Boundaries may feel selfish at first, particularly if you're used to being someone who lets others have their way. People may push against your new boundaries initially. Remain firm but sensitive in responding. If you are uncertain whether you have set adequate boundaries, try using the circle of concern tool to identify your personal priorities and limits before using your personal values as guidance. If still uncertain, ask yourself how it would feel if all your physical, financial, emotional, and spiritual needs were being fulfilled by others. Use our free Setting Boundaries worksheet below to start setting your own personal boundaries. Plus, don't forget to share this post with others so they too may establish self-care boundaries. Honesty is key when setting and upholding healthy boundaries, so the first step should be identifying people or situations which drain, overwhelm, or mistreat you in any way. Your instinct may tell you what should constitute healthy boundaries. Otherwise, you can look out for specific signs indicating unhealthy relationships, such as coming away feeling exhausted from interactions or hearing resentful remarks when communicating. These could all be indicators that it's time to set some clear guidelines between yourself and them. Decide the boundaries you wish to establish and then communicate them clearly with those around you. People who love and respect you should generally support any new boundaries you set. However, some people might initially push back or be upset at you for their changes. Over time, however, they will come around once they realize you're only caring for yourself and meeting your own needs. Remind yourself that setting and upholding boundaries requires daily effort. Boundaries don't have to be grandiose in scope. Small decisions like declining an offer or setting your phone on Do Not Disturb when coworkers become toxic can help build your confidence when it comes to saying no and yes. Also remember when it comes to self-care that it is okay if there are times you don't meet all your goals and instead opt for rest or relaxation. That is all part of the journey. Boundaries exist to safeguard you against being hurt or exploited, and you should set and honor those that are important to you, even if it causes discomfort for others. Some may struggle accepting your boundaries, particularly close family members, which may make them angry and hurt, and be sure to show patience as they process their feelings. Avoid placing blame or being defensive over your decision, and remember they may be upset for some time as they adjust to changes in the relationship. If they don't understand, try explaining it so they understand. For instance, say something like, "I know this may be difficult for you, but my goal is to focus on my mental health and find a healthy work-life balance. Please respect my decision." If you're having difficulty setting boundaries, it may be beneficial to practice in low-risk scenarios first. Ask a trusted friend or mentor to assist with setting and maintaining them. They can act as a sounding board and offer advice on how best to handle various situations. As you set boundaries, remember that it's normal to occasionally overstep. Being too harsh with yourself or unrealistic can lead to feelings of shame and hopelessness. Compassionate accountability allows us to identify why a boundary was breached in order to make adjustments later. You could say to someone, "When I set a boundary and then break it, I usually do so due to anxiety or overwhelm. Can we discuss ways to address these emotions in future?" Boundaries are broad statements of intent designed to save time, energy, and ultimately money from having to make numerous small decisions in your daily life. Although seemingly minor in nature, boundaries could transform your lifestyle dramatically. Setting boundaries can be an ongoing process that may take some time and practice for it to feel natural and appropriate for you. At first it may feel awkward, especially if you come from a family without clear rules and were brought up as someone who always tried to please everyone. But setting healthy boundaries will not only help focus on what truly matters, but will also give a sense of clarity and calm you may have never had before. As you begin establishing boundaries, it is crucial that you remain honest with yourself and recognize that setting limits does not equate to being rude or selfish. On the contrary, establishing personal boundaries enables you to provide enough space and energy for what matters to you most. Without this safeguard, your energy may drain quickly, leaving no room left for anything that matters most to you and could leave you feeling exhausted, depleted, or even resentful. As soon as you set boundaries, others may challenge them. This is perfectly natural and important to remember that others might feel defensive, angry, or hurt by your decision. Remember, this doesn't involve pushing them away. Rather, protecting your needs and well-being are your priorities. Be kind and patient with yourself. No one can maintain perfect boundaries at all times. When this occurs, be gentle with yourself and identify why so that a plan can be created to get back on the right path. Communicate your needs. Establishing boundaries isn't simply another task on your to-do list. It is an integral component of self-care and developing a healthy sense of who you are. Boundaries help us feel grounded and secure, making it easier to say no when people want more from us than we can give. When setting boundaries, be clear and specific in how you define them. For instance, if you are concerned about how friends or coworkers may react to your new rules, try saying something like, "I am setting aside some time each week just for myself. Could you please respect my request that no one contact me during that time?" Boundaries should never be set in stone. They will change over time as your needs and priorities change. Don't hesitate to take a step back and reevaluate your boundaries if you find yourself feeling burnout. But avoid setting too many rules. Doing so may become burdensome rather than helpful tools for self-care. Physical boundaries are relatively easy to establish. However, setting emotional and psychological ones is more complicated and less concrete. If you often feel depleted and anxious, however, then chances are there are no visible boundaries in place that keep people at bay. Setting boundaries may seem intimidating at first, so it is wise to start small and build up to more complex situations gradually. Practice your boundary muscles in low-risk scenarios like telling a trusted friend about the situation, or writing it all down in a journal. This will allow you to gain more confidence with this process and ultimately implement your boundaries more confidently when facing high-risk interactions with others. Once you've established boundaries, remain firm and consistent in upholding them. If someone doesn't abide by your decision, gently remind them while remaining calm and assured, like how dogs learn their boundaries by watching their owner, and they should eventually understand and respect your limits. Set yourself up for success. Establishing personal boundaries can be challenging when you're used to pleasing other people, but setting yourself free from self-sacrifice is essential to reaching your health and happiness goals. Healthier boundaries are broad statements of intent designed to save time and energy when making daily decisions. They don't have to remain static over time as your priorities shift through different stages. At its best, your boundaries should reflect your goals, values, and needs while being kind to others and enabling you to operate at your peak performance. Setting clear, purposeful boundaries helps keep you feeling in charge of your own schedule while helping avoid taking on too many tasks or commitments at once. When first setting boundaries, it can be helpful to practice in lower-risk scenarios. You should also prepare yourself for when others try to push against your boundaries. Consider what responses would work in such instances, such as asking for clarification or providing reasons why you limit contact. People will react differently to your boundaries, but it is essential that you remain firm in your decision-making and not let their reactions dictate it. Your goal should be to maintain your integrity without allowing their reactions affect it. Some people may understand and respect your boundaries more readily than others. They'll appreciate that you're looking out for yourself. Others, however, may take offense at having to say no and may react with anger or withdrawal. Regardless of this fact, it remains your responsibility to clearly state them and ensure everyone understands. Practice saying no in a manner that feels natural and comfortable for you. If it feels awkward at first, practice low-risk situations until it becomes second nature. Once ready to implement new boundaries and higher-risk interactions, remember that confidence is key. The liberation of prioritization. Imagine having a schedule filled with activities that bring you joy, relationships that uplift you, and commitments that resonate with your values. Sounds idyllic, doesn't it? The key to achieving this reality lies in the art of prioritization. Setting boundaries and saying no enable you to create space for what truly matters in your life. As you begin to clear the clutter of unnecessary obligations and toxic relationships, you create room for activities and connections that align with your aspirations. Prioritization is not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about making intentional choices that reflect your authentic self. When you prioritize, you're investing in your growth and happiness. Just as a gardener trims away dead branches to allow the healthy ones to thrive, you're pruning your life to foster an environment where your dreams can flourish. Honoring your needs, the ripple effect. When you set boundaries and say no, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and the world. You're saying that your needs matter, your time is valuable, and your energy is precious. This self-affirming act has a ripple effect that extends far beyond your immediate sphere. By prioritizing your well-being, you become an inspiration to others to do the same. Your courage to set boundaries and say no encourages those around you to explore self-love and embark on their own journey of empowerment. Imagine a world where everyone respects their own boundaries and cherishes their well-being. It's a world characterized by healthier relationships, reduced stress, and a collective commitment to pursuing what brings joy and fulfillment. As you learn to say no without guilt and create space for what truly matters, you contribute to the creation of this harmonious world, one boundary at a time. Your boundaries, your masterpiece. In the grand gallery of life, where each of us crafts our unique narratives, setting boundaries and saying no play pivotal roles. Just as a skilled artist uses various techniques to create depth and emotion in their masterpiece, you too can use the tools of self-love and empowerment to paint a life that reflects your essence. The canvas of your life is vast, waiting for your strokes of self-affirmation and prioritization. Remember, the journey of setting boundaries and saying no is not a linear path. It's a continuous practice that evolves as you grow. Each time you honor your needs, each time you utter a confident no, you're adding vibrant hues to your canvas. Your boundaries are not barriers, they're bridges to a life that resonates with authenticity and fulfillment. Embrace them, cherish them, and watch as your self-love transforms your world into a masterpiece of boundless beauty.